Alright, in this episode, we break down the Studley pitcher's pitching mechanics
and core stability and power clean.
All right, Brent, Pourciau, Stephen, go down here at the @Top Velocity #PitchTipsShow, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, musically @Top Velocity #PitchTips, #BaseballTips. Ask your question and answer on the show. I just launched my fast arm recovery system. I know I'm excited, but I'm excited for the system. I'm not really excited to get guys into it because these are guys that are in pain, injured, typically in season. That's what I built it for, because I get a lot of requests from guys, specifically in that Snapchat, like hundreds of them, like my bicep is knotted up tight, I've got elbow pain, I've got shoulder pain, what do I do? I've got to pitch in a week. Or so it's I didn't really have anything for those guys. I was like, just when the season's over, call me and come to a 2X 3X camp. So now here's a system that is really focused on getting you back to health, so then you can get to an off season and then start full development. Because it's typically guys that are asking me that aren't on my programs. And so this is something quick to help them get to health and then get on my program. So it addresses nutrition, mashing, compression, active recovery, just a cool little system that you can work and kind of listen to your body and follow through in 4 weeks. And if you can do it in 2, you do it in 2. And then Steven's got the nutritional program coming out. And he's talking about how he's going to make it to where should I say this?
No, that's fine.
He's going to make it to where, in the meal plan, you really have a lot of customization to what you like and stuff into it.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's saying eat rice cakes and, I don't know.
It's going to have a whole cookbook where I'm trying to put about 50 recipes and kind of separate them, and as you get the program, you'll see how it works. But it's going to be really you can individualize it by taking a lot of those recipes and kind of mix and matching it and customizing it how you want.
And 2, don't forget, it's still a good time to get in the Top Velocity programs as far as position player velocity, 2X programs, 3X programs for pitchers. Camps are still going strong. We got one this weekend, so you're going to see a lot of content on Snapchat. It's been a little dead lately. So check that out at topvelocity.net if you want to learn more. And let's get started. What's the first question today? Joseph Brasher asks, I want to see the footage. A comparison would be great between you in high school and you in pro ball. All right, let's do this. Let's look at the greatest pitcher of all time ever, period. Thank you very much. We're going way back, guys. We're going back to 1995.
Wow.
Okay.
I was born in 93.
2 years. He was 2 years old. I'm doing this.
Little Steve.
Okay, this is actually in our semifinals of our state playoffs. We lost to Central Baton Rouge, if I can remember. We lost 2-1. They won I think 10-run ruling the team in the finals. This team had won it 6 years in a row. They had like 3 guys get drafted off it. Most important is McClure. Todd McClure is the catcher who was in the NFL for like 20 years. This is a really badass team we played against and almost beat them 2-1. It was pretty cool. So I don't know, guys. Radars weren't that big back then. I was probably mid 80s back then. I think I was 6'1", 165 pounds, and then pro ball I'm 6'1", 235 pounds. So unbelievable how much size I gained. But here's the thing. My buddy who shot this, may he rest in peace, Victor. He was a foreign exchange student from Russia, just passed away of cancer. So shout out goes to him and his family. Cool to see that, but at the same time, he was from Russia, so every time he would shoot the footage, right as I'm about to throw, he'd go to the hitter. So I was able to pull together one pitch from 2 pitches. So what you're gonna see is, this one's first in fast motion. Literally, as I get to here, here's him pulling away, and then it cuts in right here, a pitch that I barely got from him. So this is all I have, guys. This is literally all I have. This is what happens when you're in high school before the internet is really big.
And you have a Russian film.
Yeah, a Russian guy doing the film, the man. the wolf, and you got to make it happen. So let's see what happens here. I'm going to zoom in as close as I can and give it to you. So coming out of like my leg lift right here, I had a high leg lift. You can see I'm kind of like this. It's blurred out. I was a Nolan Ryan.
Yeah, that's what I was going.
Obviously, Nolan Ryan influenced everyone back then. Didn't do crud for me. If anything, it's what ruined my arm. Now remember this, guys. I tore my rotator cuff this year, or tore my rotator cuff 4 or 6 months after this. Okay, so here it is blurred out. What you should see here is you should see the front leg opening up. Okay, so you might want to like step back to look at this. It's a little blurred out, but you should see I just flew my front leg wide open. Which,
bro, what are we looking at? This
is all you can see. Actually, if you look in the lens, you can see it better.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's not that clear right here. Look, you can see it right there.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so what I did is I flew my front leg pretty wide open, okay? And the back leg just, I'd say there's a little extension, but you see it turn in and instantly rotate. So you kind of see it just rotate as well. So I'm purely rotational. Here we go. I'm a rotational pitcher. But the crazy thing is, if you can see it, you see my arm hyperabducting literally above my head.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That is when this all began and led me down the road of rotator cuff injury. Okay, so I'll draw it out for you if we can see it. This is my arm up here, okay? Hyperabducted above my head. And then, but I'm at front foot, and then as I stabilize next frame, it's still well above my head, fully internally rotating, like here. Like, Chris O'Leary talks about flat arm syndrome. I mean, that's worse than flat arm syndrome. I'm at front foot. So I'm at front foot here. Gosh, hold it, come on. I'm at front foot right here, and I'm literally like this at front foot strike. And then next frame, then I come up. That's like the inverted W, obviously inverted L, whatever you want to call it. But more of what I always have believed, and there's a study that proved it, that early trunk rotation has more correlation to injury than the inverted W. It's an actual study that was done on that. And I believe that. To me, it's not so much this position for me. It's when I stabilize, I see my glove side tuck a little bit right there, okay? And then next frame, my arm fully cocks, or my arm finally gets down to 90 degrees. Now it's at this position. If you can see it, it's like right here. But my glove side is pretty tucked. So it's not even probably early trunk rotation, it becomes early trunk rotation because I'm so delayed in the arm. So, I understand what O'Leary's going at with the arm. I'm not too far away from that. I just think it's as much a problem of when the trunk is opening to when the arm is fully catching up, which falls into what's called hyperangulation or arm drag. Either way, they both typically can lead to arm drag. So here you go. Now my trunk is, I would say, pretty much open at that point. And here's my elbow way behind my scapular plane. That's why I tore my rotator cuff. That's why I tore my supraspinatus, okay? And I started having serious impingements. So I'd feel sharp pains when I would throw, and then it would burn all the way down my arm, that was the supraspinatus. So it being all hyperangulated and jammed against that clavicle, okay, as it was also externally rotating, which is just grinding on that supraspinatus, boom, and then that's eventually what tore it 6 months later. And then look at this abduction though. I'd always had a really good abduction here, okay? So really good shoulder abduction to maximum external rotation, and then internal rotation. But look at my front leg, completely bent. So I wasn't using my lower half. So quick transition to me. This is literally, guys, that's 1995 to 2005. So this is me 10 years later, finally getting to pro ball after a little bit of college ball, getting it back what I could, amateur ball, and then finding myself in pro ball 10 years later. Here's me throwing to Jose Canseco, my idol at the time, and watch how much different of a pitcher I am. So a lot of guys come to my camps and I say, they say, well, I've got a lot of changes I've got to make. I've got to change this. Can I do this? I'm like, dude, if I could do it, you can do it. Like, you just saw a pure rotator. You saw this hyper-angulated late arm action to the point that ripped my arm off. No front leg, no leg activity at all. Then I become this guy. Lift to load. So I'm sitting on my back leg, which you can see it. This is another blurred up video. Once again, now this is 10 years later and it's still before YouTube. Okay, so it's not like, Brent, you're hiding things. I'm not. Like, I'm lucky I have this. Most guys from these eras don't even have anything, probably. Okay, so I'm sitting on my back leg. Look how much flexion in my back leg. I wasn't doing that in high school. And then you can see as I open it, it drives. It actually drives through right there. You see that back hip shows up, and there's extension back there. I'll flip to a picture. I have a still video, a picture of me actually doing it. And I'm separated, okay? And then here we go. Good. Look at that great shoulder abduction again. Did that well again. And then most important, I stick and extend my front leg, okay?
Damn, that's night and day different.
Right. So if I can do it, you can do it, right? I'll give you a quick pic of me. Let's see. Here's a pic of me with the front leg. Or you can see me at separation. Where's a good one? I think there's one down here. Me at separation. Right here. Okay. So there it was. So I think I transferred probably a little early, but there's extension there. Not as good as getting my hip through. I think I did it better in other times, but you see the separation. Okay, and also too, you see the front leg stability. I think you kind of see it there. I'm not at pitch release. You see it probably more here at pitch release. Almost full extension of my front leg. Okay. So you can just see even more linear energy. Look how much farther my trunk, well, I don't even know. Maybe, I think my trunk went farther that time. But that's it. So anything you want to add to it?
It's cool looking back at it, man. You were like a mixture of, in high school, like Billy Wagner, Nolan Ryan, and Tom Seaver with that front leg, and the Billy Wagner like pullback, and then the Nolan Ryan leg lift.
Just probably 30 pounds lighter. If I probably would have had their size, and I wasn't strength training. So here's my team. This is cool because that's Justin Ottman, who's the 3X coach Ottman. So this is us playing at San Diego State. We were an indie team playing at San Diego State when Strasburg was there and Tony Gwynn was there. It was Tony Gwynn Stadium. But yeah, I think what was my career at that point at 18 when I tore my rotator cuff? When I tore my rotator cuff at 18, that was when I was living by conventional wisdom. I played football. I would do 2-a-day lifts and that was it. Never touched the weight again. Of course, when I got I'm in football, I was like, I'm in baseball, don't touch a weight. I did some tubing. Tubing was kind of new back then. We had to go to the hospital to get the surgical tubing back then. That's how you had to get it. And I followed Mills back then, Dick Mills. I did his weighted ball programs back then. I did extreme long toss. We go out the football field and we try to throw it through the foul poles, not the foul poles, through the field goals. I would run long distance. I would run literally all day long. I did it all, guys. I was Mr. Conventional Wisdom. Bam, tore my rotator cuff. 10 years later, I did the opposite. Olympic lifting, no extreme throwing, learning good biomechanics, and I went from probably mid-80s to close to mid-90s, pretty much mid-90s, gained 60, 70 pounds, never hurt my arm again.
Yep, it's crazy. I remember my first time when I came to camp when I was 19, when I first came in and saw you, and you were like, he's like standing there all like Herculean, literally just like shirt off, like, what's up guys, I'm Brent, here for the camp. And this dude literally, like, I had never seen like his power pack ab just like busting out. He's lost some weight since then, but it was, man, you were throwing hard then too. It was impressive. I was like, I want to be that guy. It was cool.
Not a major league career, but it's just pretty cool when you see injure yourself literally right out of high school. Doctor saying you never play again. You could barely throw a ball. 10 years later, you got to walk on a professional field, even though it was independent. It was still a pretty good league. You know, I get to pitch against my idol, Jose Canseco, play for I collected his cards, Coach Terry Kennedy. So, I mean, I had opportunities to keep playing. I actually retired. I was traded, and I didn't want to go to Yuma, Arizona, and I hung it up. So it's pretty cool to have that experience coming from you feel like you ended your career. To me, when I see that pitch right there, that was the last pitches of my career. This was literally, to me, just pulling the pieces together. So that's just the difference in baseball. That's the difference in those guys that come up and just can stay healthy and ride it all the way through, as opposed to the guys who have injuries or it just doesn't work anymore, and you have to rebuild a career. It's a different game at that point. Like I was telling the guy the other day, it's like when it comes to that point in your career where you can't do it anymore at the level you're at, it's not the game it always was anymore. It's not really the fun game we play. You don't go out and just play anymore. You then start developing and training and rebuilding and adjusting and remolding and understanding the game so much more analytically that it becomes a job. So for me, it's like that transition of 1995. That's when I was a kid. That's when I was having fun. God, that would have been great to take that to Major League Baseball. A lot of guys, with the guys that are there, a lot of them do. But this guy here, this guy was the guy who just wanted the chance again to prove everybody wrong or live the dream or have the experience. And he turned it into the job. And he added on 60 to 70 pounds. He rebuilt his biomechanics. He sweated out every day to get to that level. And it's a different game. So that guy's playing a different game. It was fun, but it was work. It was really a product. It was like, hey, look at all this work. Let's see what comes out of it. And it's rewarding. It's like, cool. I got something out of it. But I think that's the difference. But I think people can relate to that because everybody's going to hit that point in their career where it's really not the game anymore. It's not the game you grew up anymore. Now it's work because it's not working, and I gotta get better. I gotta change things. What do you think?
I mean, yeah, I even put like in the nutrition program. I like how it's showing lean body mass from high school all the way up to the MLB, and that kind of just correlates to everybody. You're eventually going to hit a point where genetically you can no longer compete. Most people are going to hit it. Some guys just hit the genetic lottery and they can play all the way up to MLB just based on their genetics alone, but most people are going to hit somewhere. Some people it might be high school, some people it might be little league, some people it might be college, some people it might be pro ball, but at some point most people are going to hit a wall where their genetics are no longer enough, and then it becomes what other option do you have but to try to go past that genetic limit, and that's done with nutrition and weightlifting, in my opinion. And you're a product of it. You did it.
Yeah, and it works. I think I'm the first testimonial of the 3X Pitch and Velocity program. I think that's what makes me unique. I don't know any other program out there that the program was built by the guy who developed it. He was the first testimonial. So that's one thing I'm proud of this approach, and really, to me, that's the testament of my career. To me, my career, when I got to here and I did all that, was to give back at that point what I learned. And like I said, it's a different game. You look at David Aardsma, and I asked my favorite question I asked David Aardsma. I said, David, if I would have shown you this program in 2009 when you were closing for the Mariners and had all those saves, what would you have said? He said, I'd have told you to go screw yourself. He said it a little bit more grotesquely, but and it makes perfect sense because now David and I talk every day. He's like, Brent, what else can I do? What else can I do? He's now where I was here when David, 7 years in the league, I think at that point, 6-7 years in the league, in Major League Baseball, one of the top closers, and he's still playing the game like he's a kid. I mean, and that's why a kid would tell you to go screw yourself. I'm having too much fun. Back off, dude. And so I understand it. I understand when I talk to these pro guys and they don't want to do this work because they're still the kid. They're that guy I was in 1995, and I'm telling them, one day either you're going to quit and hang it up, or you're going to be this guy, and you're going to get 2 to 3, 4, 5 more years out of the game that you never thought you could. So, point is here at Top Velocity, we're just waiting. We're waiting for you to tell us that's where you are. Get on the nutritional program, get on the 3X and 2X programs. That's how it works. Cool. All right, good question. Thanks for letting me reminisce through my career. Hope you're still watching. And let's answer the next question. Andrew asks, hey guys, big fan of the show. Just wanted to know what role the abdominal muscles have in 3X pitching and how to develop them, and also how to increase speed under the bar when power cleaning. Abdominal muscles, there's a study that shows high velocity pitchers actually activate their abdominal muscles later, which to me is hip to shoulder separation. It's transferring energy late. So they activate them later. Okay, because think about it, the initial phase is all that eccentric loading, hip to shoulder, trunk extension. So my muscles, my core is just stretching at this point. Okay, And then if anything, there is a contraction here, because there's about 10 degrees of abduction the moment the arm goes from full maximum external rotation to pinch release. There's 10 degrees of adduction, 10 degrees down, okay? I find that to be more in the trunk flexion. The trunk, the abdominals pulling down. Now, I would rather see you activating more your abdominals than your obliques. Oblique strains, oblique pulls typically come from rotational guys. Zach Greinke just had one, very rotational guy. Okay, so the problem with the abdominal muscles is we think that that's so important, and then we yank on them, and then we have abdominal strains and stuff. You can throw that way, but to me that's overcompensation. Anytime I'm pulling through the oblique to pull my shoulder around, it's overcompensation. So that would be a bad use of the abdominals. But if I'm that guy who's in full trunk extension and I'm going into pitch release and I want to help initiate that energy into pitch release, there is an abdominal crunch at that point. Now, I wouldn't overemphasize that. To me, that's really stretch shortening. That's you really getting a good load of trunk extension, and you stabilize front foot, and that's that little stability in the core or in the abs to pull down, boom, and that just initiates the process. It's not then a continual pull to pitch release. I don't believe in the pull down. I believe in the catapult. Okay, I don't believe you pull the catapult back and then you try to pull it forward and pull it down. I believe you pull it back, you load all the energy into it, and you let it go. You just hold on and to your grip to finish your pitch. But there's no energy being created at that point. It's over. So the abdominals, yes, are more stretch shortening, stretch in the extension, the loading of the upper body, and then the shortening and that contraction in the abs to initiate that 10 degree of abduction to start the arm and through the delivery. What do you think?
I think too in the sense of when you're moving down the mound, when you're loading into your back leg, when you're driving, I think the abdominals play a big part in being able to hold. I don't know how to put this. Like, one, being able to transfer energy up the chain, but it's able to just hold you in place. Like, the best way I can describe is like when you're squatting. Like, guys, when they're squatting, a lot of the times they'll break down because they'll slip into overextension, or they'll just their core is weak, so they'll collapse in their squat. So it's like the same thing. You want to have a strong core to be able to hold you firm even when you're pitching. So when you're driving, a strong core is going to help you be able to transfer energy from the ground up through the chain a lot better. And then, as you were saying, helping in hip to shoulder separation, and then in that last in the chest thrust, being able to give you a little extra on it as well. But I think that's just one of the biggest thing that the core is built for. Like people will say, if you want to have healthy extremities, like being like your knees, your shoulders, blah blah blah, whatnot, have a strong core, because the core is going to be able to help support all of those joints really well. And I think that's one of the biggest things that it can be helpful for.
Yeah, I think you brought in another good piece. So I think the best way to understand the core is first for stability, because that allows you to transfer energy proximal to distal, basically to the end.
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to get. There you go.
And then on all aspects, eccentric and concentric. So think of the trunk. If you really want to do this well and use the kinetic chain and not try to overcompensate and pull down and all that crap, if you want to do this right, the trunk to you should be first stability and then stretch shortening. So first of all, it should be strong to stabilize. That's why I love in the cleans, when we catch a clean, that's what your trunk does. It stabilizes. I love when you front squat, it stabilizes. Okay, that's going to allow us to transfer energy. Then it needs to be seen as stretch shortening. So it needs to be able to load. Okay, so there's got to be mobility there. It's got to be a stretch, and then it should have some activity. It should be ability to fire. So there should be some explosiveness to it, which, once again, the difference between you front squatting to catching a clean is going to create that quick activity that we want more in stretch shortening. Okay, and then when you just front squat, that's just going to be more focused on stability. Okay, so that's how Coach Hatch always say the best core strengthening program is Olympic lifting. There's no better way than, to get a guy front squatting 265. Does that guy really need to do crunches? His stomach is ripped if he's doing that, because it's so much. That the core drives that lift. Because if you don't stabilize, there's no way. That's the biggest challenge. Like when you're under a front squat, what's the hardest thing to do?
Stabilize.
You feel like you're gonna drop the bar.
Yeah.
Right. And that's
especially on the back squat. Like so many guys, and especially just baseball throws in general. Like you see so many guys, you call it the hooker stance. Like when they're they're in overextend. Like you can't see it, but the hooker stance, when their butt's shooting out, they're in overextension. And you see some of those guys doing the drills, like when we do the med ball drills, and it's so hard for them to transfer energy up the chain. And I think
they're not stable.
I think because their pelvis is out of position. They're not stable in the anterior core, and that's when you have to go in and kind of, I think they need to do more supplementing of being able to stabilize the core for them to be able to get in a better position and transfer energy up the chain more efficiently.
Right, and then he says how to increase speed under the bar, or how to increase speed under the bar when power cleaning. So I don't want you to think speed under the bar. To me, those are full clean guys. If you're trying to get quick under the bar, then you're not creating enough bar height. So I would rather you emphasize in this approach, because it's more a leg power approach. Here's the problem with cleaning. If you just are all in that posterior chain the whole time into your pulls, and then you just swing and shoot, you're not really building leg power. You're building the posterior chain, and you're building the ability to stabilize and get under the bar, but there's no actual explosiveness in it. There's no concentric power phase. So I don't want you to think speed under the bar. I want you to think bar height. That's why we do power cleans and we don't throw you at full cleans. Because we want you to emphasize bar height, specifically early on. How high can I drive that bar so I got all the time in the world to get under it? I never feel like I got to shoot under the bar. I feel like I just got to get it higher. If I get it higher, I get under it. You know, I feel quicker under it when I have more time to get under it. So I would rather, I know when you start maxing in it, what happens is your bar height goes down and then you think you got to be so quick. And I understand that, but to me, that's not that important. I don't need your max to go up because now you're quicker to catch the bar. I want your max to go up because you keep driving it higher and higher and higher. Your bar height goes up, up, up. Okay. What do you think?
I mean, I agree in the sense that you want it to be bar height, but at the same time, when you start getting heavier, that's when when you're trying to go for bar height and you're trying to get it up, and it's so heavy that it's hard to get a lot of bar height, that you're going to do the cowboy.
Yeah.
And that's when I think
I know they want to be quicker to not do that, but
the way to get quicker to doing it though is learning how to catch in a better position, like being comfortable. I feel like catching in a better position. So like when you go to catch, even with your lighter weight, you would do a clean and then you would try to catch it in a stable, good position without cowboying it, and then go into a front squat. And then kind of learn, like it's almost like learning how to do a full clean, but then you're just teaching yourself to catch it in a lower, more
You're right, and I've
position.
worked on that, and I teach guys that you just got to learn to drop your butt and get under the bar. But once again, I don't like emphasizing that. I'd rather emphasize bar height, because you're just gonna get to the point where you're like, oh well, I'm just not moving it, and then it's all gonna be how can I shoot under it, and then all of a sudden that's all you're emphasizing now, and now you're not even to bar height. Now your bar height sucks. You're just getting good at shooting under the bar, and you're catching the clean almost in a full clean or a half clean, and it's not really bar height. It's like, and then you start telling a guy, well, you know, those are the guys that you're just shooting under the bar or you're catching it low. It's like, you know, then I say, okay, I want you to catch it just a little bend in your knee, and then all of a sudden they can't do 50 pounds. You know, they're 50 pounds less at that point.
But you don't think if they're hitting their transition and still exploding and just catching it a little lower, like, I mean, I'm just going off, like when I watch the video of, like, when I see Kevin or anybody who's going for a really heavy clean, nobody catches it at their easy, like, perfect power clean position. Like when it's really heavy, a lot of guys will get low and go wide.
Kevin never broke a 31-inch vertical jump.
Yeah, I mean, he was heavier.
So my point is, I want an elite vertical jump. And why do I think like Matt Bruce has a 44-inch vertical jump? Is because the jerk phase to me really takes them over the edge. And we don't jerk at their weight.
Yeah, no.
So because we're not jerking at their weight, I don't like to see guys catching their maxes low, because then I go, okay, it's just strength at that point. Or, you know, to me, it's just posterior strength and, yeah, maybe a quick activity to shoot under it, but there's no power. And that's why I've seen guys clean 265 and jump 24 inches. I've seen it. And little guys, guys your size, cleaning 265 and jumping 24 inches. And it's all posterior chain and then shooting under the bar.
I know what you mean. I'm just saying that I think there comes a point when weight gets so heavy that
You do. I get it.
You need.
But that's
you
if
need
you're an
to learn.
Olympian. But we're not doing this as an Olympian. We're doing this for vertical jump height or power, leg power.
I mean,
So
even
But the point is, you're kind of transitioning to just the wanting to do the weight, which is fine. Because to me, the only reason we do the lifts is to gain the vertical jump.
Yeah, no, but that's the thing. Like, if the vertical jump's not going up, then it's useless. But what if you're doing that and the vertical jump is still going up?
Then that's fine.
And it's not. And you're not going to a full
and it's
plane.
not.
You're
We're
just
not
learning
people
how
are going
to
to think we just do power cleans just a vertical jump. It's not just a vertical jump. It's the core stability, which we were just talking about with, is huge, and it's the front leg stability. When I catch the bar, so I love racking the bar, I'm stabilizing the front leg. So it's the reason we do the Olympic lifts. It's for the concentric power and the vertical jump, and it's for the isometric strength of stabilizing the weight as quick as possible, which is front foot strike.
I think one of the biggest things too is it teaches motor control better than any other.
It's a full kinetic move.
It teaches you how to transfer energies from the ground all the way up the chain, that you can. Once you get good at that and you start doing the drills, you can start seeing how it transfers from driving your legs to separating, and it gets similar.
Yep.
So
no, I mean, I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying you might be going a little too far to the other side as far as the pure Olympian.
I'm just going where I'm at, where I'm stuck right now, and I just feel like in my cleans that it's like, I understand that it's like, yeah, you just need more leg power to get it higher, but at the same time, like when you hit a plateau, I think just having the confidence to where you're getting to catch it at first, and then it goes up, and then you kind of break that barrier, and then you can, as you get stronger, you can.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, if I feel like I'm talking to beginners here, but if I was talking in a room of advanced guys, we'd be having this conversation. I just don't want beginners to look at this and think they got to be quick under the bar.
No, the worst.
It's really about bar height initially. Cool, good question. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Musically, at Top Velocity, hashtag pitch tips, hashtag baseball tips. Ask your question, answer on the show. Guys, the season's coming to an end for minor league ball, so it's not going to be much farther away for Major League Ball. I mean, we do got some time, but so keep your questions coming. We're going to keep this going all year, just like we did last year. We were over a year with this show. We're going to just keep going. So we love your questions. Keep them coming. Check out topvelocity.net for all of our programs, and we'll see you on the next episode.